Welcome to the HyperFast Agent Podcast. I'm your host, Keri Shull, and today we're going to take a look behind the scenes with top technologies in the real estate space to help take your business to the next level. Let's go. Welcome back to the HyperFast Agent Podcast. I'm Keri Shull, and I'm here with Chris, the co-founder and CEO of Your Best ISA. Chris, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
I think we should take off these awesome shades so
already?
everyone can see us. These are
All right.
pretty sweet. So tell me a little bit about your company, how you built it, and how it will benefit agents that are watching today.
Okay, so I guess I should start with a little bit of a backstory. I run a brokerage out of Las Vegas. I'm a broker owner in Las Vegas as well. My co-founder actually started as my ISA, and then we partnered up to form this company, Your Best ISA.
Okay, cool.
So we put all of our ISAs through the same basic training that I would any brand new agent inside of my brokerage.
Okay.
So they get pretty well trained up to a good baseline, and they take a lot of practice reps in my brokerage before they get ready for an assignment.
Wonderful. And where are the ISAs located? Are they in your office? Are they remote?
They're all remote working from home in Honduras.
Okay, cool. So Honduras is an interesting twist. That's not what I was expecting. How did you determine that hiring ISAs from Honduras was the best fit for what you're trying to scale?
When I met my co-founder Maggie, who actually cold called me one day out of the blue, that's how our relationship started. I thought I struck gold because when she was just talking to me on the phone, it was like she could be my next door neighbor. A lot of the people in Honduras, from the Bay Islands of Honduras, English is actually their native language. So when I realized I can get someone from a third world country and leverage the cost, I guess I should say, with an accent that is basically like an American, I thought that was pretty good.
I think it's brilliant. And one of the, so I have a large ISA team, and I'm somebody who very much believes in ISAs.
Yeah.
And I'll be very candid here. I've always coached the team leaders that I coach, like, you need to have in-house ISAs. One of the reasons is that I tried to train ISAs from the Philippines.
Right.
And what I found is they were great at relationship building, but they wouldn't actually close the person into an appointment. So in your structure, share a little bit about how you handle the close. Is that an appointment? Is it phone conversation? What does that look like for your team?
It's really client dependent. So we will do an onboarding session and kind of figure out what the client wants us to do in terms of the close or appointment. So we can do like a live transfer. If it's a bigger team, pretty much everyone, we're at FubCon, is a follow-up boss user. And our ISAs are all trained on the systems that I use in my brokerage, Follow-Up Boss at Ylopo. So we can do a live transfer in Follow-Up Boss. If they're a larger team, they can set up a team inbox and kind of ring everyone at once, do the broadcast method. If they're a solo agent, we can pop it right on their calendar if they keep their calendar clean.
Yep.
Just depends on what they want to do.
Okay, all right. And the teams who are most successful in using your system, if you could spell out what the ideal team would do, what would you recommend?
Just the main thing that is like the key recipe for success would be continually meeting and working with the ISA. So we get them, again, to a good baseline. They kind of need a little bit of support when it comes to the new area that they're working, because they train in Las Vegas. All of our clients aren't in Las Vegas, so they need to learn how to pronounce all the new city names and what the market's like. For me, like 500K plus is on the luxury side, but then if they go and work in like San Francisco, that's
a very different clientele.
Exactly. So
and
they
how
have
would approach it.
They have to understand the ins and outs of the new market, and that's just, they need a little support from the client.
Okay. And if a client, wanted to, one of the agents that's watching this, or one of my coaching clients, I'm thinking selfishly, wanted to utilize your service, how do they onboard? What does that process look like? And then what kind of conversion rates can they expect? I'm stacking questions here. If they have, leads coming in their system, you mentioned Ylopo, what kind of conversion ratio can they expect?
So I guess we'll start with the conversion piece. It's a tough question to answer just because there's so many different lead sources out there. It really depends on the client, what they want us to call. There's going to be people cold calling, expires, for sale by owners. We do that as well.
Okay.
Circle prospecting, so that's very different from like the internet leads versus like a Zillow lead. So it kind of ranges across the board, just as you normally would expect.
Okay, that does totally make sense. With an expired and withdrawn specifically, if you have somebody who's only focused on that tomorrow, because my ISAs are actually not good at consistently calling expireds and withdrawns.
Yeah.
So if tomorrow I said, hey, I really want to work with your team, I only want to have you focus on expireds and withdrawns in my market, what would that look like?
That onboarding would be slightly different than our normal onboarding, just because we would probably rather have someone start being trained from the beginning on all that stuff. We generally train them on converting internet buyer leads for the most part, which is a lot of the stuff that's coming into my brokerage. So
Sure.
It's less involved on that side of things, but if we knew that you as a client wanted that, then we would kind of train them up from scratch, kind of solely dedicated to that training.
Okay, that's very interesting. Because I think one of the opportunities for agents right now, everyone wants more listings. Right? And so if you can plug in a solution where you have an ISA that's dedicated and focused on that, that's huge. Yeah. And can you share a little bit about your pricing structure? If someone was going to sign up to have one ISA
Sure.
or two ISAs, what would that look like?
The pricing structure is the same. It's $1,250 a month for a full-time dedicated bilingual and Spanish ISA. Trained on Ylopo, Follow Up Boss, all the tools that a lot of you guys are using currently. Monday through Friday, generally a 9-hour shift with a 1-hour lunch. So
Okay.
About 160 hours a month, depending on the month. What was the other part of the question there?
One other thought, do they use Mojo or FUB, or what are you having them call in?
Yeah, let me just finish the cost piece. We also have part-time at $10 an hour.
Wow, okay.
So that's an option for smaller teams or people who don't necessarily have the lead flow that some of these other big teams have.
Sure.
And then we generally get a seat inside of our clients' Follow-Up Boss or CRM, Chime, whatever it is. They're all pretty similar. Again, they're trained on Follow-Up Boss because that's what we use, but like switching to Chime is like nothing. And
Okay.
they're usually on the younger side, so they're pretty tech savvy. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. And then on the Mojo side, how does that work?
That's all client provided. So if the client is
So if
using
we're
Mojo
currently
or
using
Vulcan, whatever,
Mojo-
you just give them a login and they would call from there.
What do you use for your brokerage?
Just Follow-Up Boss.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm curious because I heard of a technology recently that enables you to call more people at the same time than Mojo.
Oh.
And it's apparently, I've been trying to learn about it, but it hasn't come up. So,
Yeah, I don't even know.
Why do you choose to have them call within Follow Up Boss instead of Mojo, out of curiosity?
It's a good question. The single line dialer with all the ISAs that I have training inside of my brokerage is enough. So it just works for us.
And how many ISAs, let's imagine if somebody's watching this and they're trying to determine, okay, how many ISAs do I need to effectively cover my database? If somebody has 20,000 people in their CRM, do you base how many ISAs based on the size of their database, or based on the amount of incoming leads that they have, or how would you give them advice about the coverage they need?
We don't normally give advice on the coverage they need. We kind of just start with one to fill the void or gap that they're missing currently, and then we can tell them our ISAs basically call about 150 leads a day on the single line dialer, and then if they're doing triple line, it goes up from there. But just they can run their own numbers based on that and see how long that would take an ISA to call. Sometimes they want 2 people calling all the same leads, so different, and they can be different times a day.
So what can a client expect for the amount of live conversations and appointments that the ISAs are having per day?
So with a single line dialer like Follow Up Boss that we typically use, you can expect about 150 dials a day on average, somewhere between 5 to 10 conversations and 1 to 2 appointments usually.
Okay, that's awesome. That's a very affordable solution for the people who are out there that are trying to figure out, should they hire an internal ISA? How should they handle this challenge? I think it's amazing that you have people that are able to be bilingual and that are really reasonable in cost. So if you guys are interested, how should they get in touch with you?
You can just pop on our website, yourbestisa.com, and then you can just hop right into our calendar.
Awesome, I love it. Well, thank you so much for your time, and I'll talk to you guys soon.
See ya.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of the HyperFast Agent Podcast, where we're dedicated to taking your life and business to the next level. Do me a favor and hit the like button below and add a comment. One thing you took from this episode. Did you like the technology or not? And subscribe here.